ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something real today. This right here, this is one of those truths that people don't talk about enough, but it can change the way you understand a man completely. You see, when a man shares certain things with you, it's not just conversation. It's not just talk. That's his heart stepping forward. That's him saying, without saying it out loud, you matter to me, ladies and gentlemen. Let me talk to you about something that most people misunderstand when it comes to men. When a man shares his fears and insecurities with you, you need to understand you are standing in a place that not many people ever get to stand in. I'm telling you right now, that is not casual, that is not random, and that is definitely not something he does with just anybody. That right there is a man slowly opening a door he's been keeping locked for most of his life. You see, a man grows up in a world where he's taught one thing over and over again: be strong, don't fold, don't show weakness, don't let anybody see you doubt yourself. From the time he's a young boy, he hears things like man up and handle it, and what that does is it builds a wall around him. Brick by brick, year by year, that wall gets stronger, and behind that wall, that's where his fears live. That's where his insecurities hide. That's where all the questions he has about himself stay buried. Now here's the truth. Every man has fears. Every man has moments where he doesn't feel good enough, where he questions if he's doing the right thing, where he wonders if he's going to fail. But you won't hear him say that out loud. Not to his friends, not to the world, and sometimes not even to himself. Because for him, admitting fear feels like losing control. And a man values control more than anything. So when he comes to you and he sits down and he starts telling you about the things that scare him, you need to pause and really see what's happening in that moment. That's not just a conversation. That's trust in its purest form. That's him saying, I believe you won't judge me. I believe you won't look at me differently. I believe I'm safe here. And safety is everything to a man, even if he never says it out loud. Because let me explain something to you. A man can be surrounded by people laughing, talking, joking, and still feel completely alone inside. He can be in a room full of friends and still not feel understood. But when he finds someone he can be real with, someone he doesn't have to impress, someone he doesn't have to pretend around, that changes everything for him. Now, when a man shares his insecurities, he's not just telling you what he's afraid of. He's showing you the parts of himself he struggles with. Maybe he's afraid of not being successful enough. Maybe he feels like he's not where he should be in life. Maybe he's worried about losing you even if he tries to act like he's got it all together. Those insecurities run deep and they don't come out easily. And I want you to understand something very clearly. When he tells you these things, he is taking a risk, a real risk. Because in his mind, there's always that fear that once you see his weaknesses, you might start to lose respect for him, that you might start to see him as less than the man you thought he was. That fear is always there, sitting quietly in the background. So when he chooses to speak anyway, when he chooses to open up despite that fear, that's courage. That's him stepping outside of everything he's been taught just to let you in. Now, what you do in that moment matters more than you think. The way you react, the way you listen, the way you respond it can either bring him closer to you or push him right back behind that wall. If you dismiss it, if you laugh it off, if you use it against him later, you're not just hurting his feelings. You're confirming his worst fear that opening up was a mistake. And once a man feels that, he doesn't just close the door halfway. He locks it again, tighter than before. But if you listen, really listen, if you show him that you understand, that you respect his honesty, that you don't see him as weak but as human, something powerful happens. He starts to trust you on a deeper level. He starts to feel connected to you in a way that goes beyond surface level attraction. Because now, you're not just someone he enjoys being around, you're someone he can be himself with. And let me tell you something, that kind of connection is rare. It's not built on looks, it's not built on charm, it's built on emotional safety. And once a man feels that with you, he values you differently. He protects that connection. He holds on to it. You become the place he goes to when the world feels heavy. You become the person he thinks about when he's trying to figure things out. Not because you have all the answers, but because with you, he doesn't have to pretend he does. And that right there, that's when you know you're truly special to him. Because a man will show strength to the world, but he will only show his fears to the one he trusts. Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something that a lot of people miss when they're dealing with a man. When a man starts talking about his future and he includes you in it, that is not something small. That's not just conversation to pass time. That's intention. That's vision. And that's a man showing you where he sees his life going, and more importantly, who he sees standing next to him when he gets there. You see, men don't speak on the future lightly. A man can talk about today all day long. He can tell you what he's doing this weekend, where he's going tonight, what he feels in the moment. That's easy. But when he starts talking about next year, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, that's a different level of thinking. That requires planning. That requires clarity. That requires him to sit down and really evaluate what he wants out of life. And here's the truth. A man is naturally wired to build. He wants to create something, establish something, become something. Whether it's his career, his finances, his purpose, or his legacy, he's always thinking about how to move forward. But in that process, he's also deciding who fits into that vision and who doesn't. So when he starts saying things like, we should travel here one day, or I see us doing this, or when we get to that point, you need to understand what he's really doing. He's not just talking. He's placing you inside his plans. He's imagining a future that includes you. And trust me, a man does not do that unless he sees real value in you. Because let me explain something. Men are very careful about who they invest their future in. Time is one thing, attention is another, but the future, that's serious. That's where his goals live. That's where his dreams are. That's where everything he's working toward is headed. So if he's inviting you into that space, that means he's considering you as part of something long-term. Now, a lot of people get confused because they hear a man talk about the future, but they don't really listen to how he talks about it. There's a difference between a man who is just dreaming out loud and a man who is intentionally including you. One is vague, the other is specific. One is uncertain, the other is clear. When a man is serious, you'll hear it in his words. He won't just say someday. He'll start connecting the dots. He'll talk about how things could work, how you both could grow, how your lives could align. He's not just imagining a future, he's trying to build one, and he's seeing if you fit into it. And let me tell you something else. When a man includes you in his future, he's also taking an emotional risk because the future is not guaranteed. Life changes, people change, situations shift. So for him to speak on something that hasn't happened yet and place you inside of it, he's stepping into vulnerability again. He's allowing himself to hope, and hope is something people don't talk about enough. Hope can be scary because when you hope for something, you also open yourself up to the possibility of losing it. And so when a man starts to hope for a future with you, he's not just thinking logically, he's feeling emotionally. He's starting to care in a deeper way. Now, here's where it becomes important for you to understand your role in this. When a man shares his vision of the future with you, he's not just making statements, he's also watching your reaction. He's paying attention to how you respond. Are you supportive? Are you engaged? Do you believe in what he's trying to build? Or do you dismiss it, question it, or show doubt? Because your reaction tells him whether or not you're someone he can actually move forward with. A man wants a partner who can see what he sees or at least respect it. He wants someone who can stand beside him and not make him feel like he's carrying everything alone. So when he talks about the future and includes you and you respond with understanding and encouragement, that strengthens his connection to you. But if he feels like you're not on the same page, if he feels like you don't take his vision seriously, he starts to pull back. Not because he doesn't care, but because he doesn't see alignment. And alignment is everything when it comes to building a life with someone. Now, don't misunderstand this. Just because a man mentions the future once or twice doesn't mean he's fully committed. You have to look at consistency. Does he keep bringing it up? Does he build on those ideas over time? Does his actions start to match the things he's saying? Because a man who is serious about his future will not just talk about it, he will move in that direction. And when you see that consistency, when you see that effort, when you see that he's not just including you in words, but also in decisions, that's when you know it's real. That's when you know you're not just someone he's spending time with, you're someone he's planning life with. And let me tell you something, that's a powerful place to be in a man's life. Because once a man decides that you are part of his future, he starts to treat you differently. He becomes more intentional, more focused, more invested. He's not just thinking about today anymore, he's thinking about what comes next and how to make sure you're still there when it does. So when a man talks about his future and you're in it, don't take that lightly. That's not casual conversation. That's a glimpse into his mind, his goals, his direction. That's him showing you that he doesn't just see you in his present, he sees you in his tomorrow. And in a man's world, if he sees you in his tomorrow, that means you've already become important in his today. Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something that goes deeper than surface level conversation, deeper than attraction, deeper than chemistry. And when a man opens up to you about his past pain and his personal struggles, you need to understand you are no longer standing on the outside of his life. You've been invited into a place that most people will never see. Now let's get something straight. A man's past is not something he shares easily. In fact, most men spend years trying to forget parts of it. Pain, disappointment, heartbreak, betrayal, failure, those are not things a man sits around talking about. He carries them quietly, internally, without announcement. You might see him smiling, laughing, moving forward like everything is fine, but behind that, There are chapters in his life that shaped him, hardened him, and sometimes even broke him. And he doesn't just revisit those chapters for anybody. Because going back there, that costs something. When a man talks about his past pain, he has to relive it in some way. He has to go back to moments where he felt weak, moments where things didn't go his way, moments where he trusted the wrong people or made decisions he regrets. And for a lot of men, that's uncomfortable. That's something they avoid, not something they volunteer. So when he sits with you and starts telling you about the things he's been through, that's not just storytelling. That's vulnerability at a level that most people don't recognize. He might tell you about a time he was hurt by someone he loved. He might talk about how he gave his all and it wasn't enough. He might open up about struggles with his family, his finances, his confidence, or his purpose. These are not light topics. These are the experiences that shape the man he is today. And here's the truth. Every man has scars, some visible, most invisible. And those invisible scars, those are the ones he protects the most. Because those scars remind him of times when he felt out of control, times when life didn't go the way he planned, times when he questioned himself, and no man likes to feel that way. So instead of talking about it, he learns to bury it, to move forward, to act like it doesn't exist. But it does exist. And when he chooses to share that part of himself with you, he's doing something very significant. He's letting you see the version of him that existed before he became who you know today. He's showing you the journey, not just the destination. That means he trusts you, not just on a surface level, but on a deeper emotional level. He believes that you won't judge him for what he's been through. He believes that you won't use his past against him. He believes that you'll understand that those experiences made him who he is. And let me tell you something, that kind of trust is not given freely. Now, here's where a lot of people make mistakes. And when a man shares his past, some people listen just to respond. They listen to compare, to analyze, or even to find flaws. But that's not what he needs in that moment. What he needs is understanding. Because when he's opening up like that, he's not looking for you to fix his past. He's not asking you to solve his problems. He's simply letting you in. He's showing you a side of himself that he normally keeps hidden. And the way you respond in that moment matters more than you realize. If you dismiss it, if you minimize it, if you make him feel like it's not important, he will regret opening up. He will go right back to keeping things inside. And once a man decides to shut that door again, it becomes even harder for him to open it the next time. But if you listen with patience, if you show empathy, if you let him speak without interruption or judgment, something powerful happens. He begins to feel seen. Not just for who he is now, but for everything he's been through to get here. And being seen like that, that's rare. Because most people only see the surface. They see the confidence, the personality, the lifestyle. But they don't see the struggle behind it. They don't see the nights he had to figure things out on his own. They don't see the moments he doubted himself but kept going anyway. But you do. And when a man realizes that you see him on that level, his connection to you deepens in a way that goes beyond attraction or convenience. It becomes emotional. It becomes meaningful. You're no longer just someone he enjoys being around. You become someone who understands his story. And understanding a man's story is one of the most powerful ways to connect with him. Because now, when he looks at you, he doesn't just see someone in his present. He sees someone who knows where he's been, someone who knows what he's overcome, someone who knows the weight he carries and still chooses to stand beside him. That creates a bond built on honesty, on trust, on shared understanding. And that kind of bond is not easy to break. So when a man opens up about his past pain and his personal struggles, don't take that lightly. Don't treat it like just another conversation. Recognize it for what it is. It's him letting you into parts of his life that he's kept guarded for a long time. It's him trusting you with pieces of himself that are not polished, not perfect, but real. And in a world where most people are afraid to be real, that kind of openness is something truly special. Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something that a lot of people overlook because they're too focused on appearances, too focused on words, too focused on what looks good on the outside. But the real truth about a man who he really is comes out in one simple moment. And that is when he shows you his true self without pretending. Now listen carefully because this right here is rare. A man spends most of his life performing. I'm not saying he's fake, I'm saying he's conditioned to present strength, confidence, control, conditioned to hide confusion, doubt, and vulnerability. When he walks into the world, he puts on a version of himself that he believes people will respect. That version is polished. That version is measured. That version is safe. But that version is not always the full truth. Because underneath all of that, there's another side to him. A side that doesn't always have the answers. A side that gets tired. A side that makes mistakes, that second guesses decisions, that sometimes just wants to be understood without having to explain everything perfectly. That's the real man. But that man doesn't come out for just anybody. You have to earn access to that. Now, when a man is around someone he doesn't fully trust, he keeps things together. He watches what he says, how he acts, how he reacts. He's careful. He's aware. He's managing how he's being perceived, because in his mind, he has something to prove. He wants to be seen as capable, strong, and in control. But when a man is with a woman he feels truly comfortable with, something shifts. He starts to relax. And I don't just mean physically, I mean mentally and emotionally. The pressure to perform starts to fade. The need to impress starts to disappear. He's no longer calculating every move, no longer filtering every word. He begins to just be. And that right there, that's when you start seeing his true self. You might notice it in small things at first. The way he talks more freely, the way he laughs without holding back, the way he admits things he normally wouldn't. Maybe he tells you when he's had a bad day instead of pretending everything is fine. Maybe he shares thoughts that are unpolished, not perfectly put together, but honest. That honesty is important, because when a man is being his true self, he's not trying to win you over anymore. He's not trying to impress you with a version of himself he thinks you want. He's showing you who he actually is, without editing, without filters. And let me tell you something, that takes courage, because there's always a risk in being real. The risk that you might not like what you see, the risk that you might judge him, the risk that you might decide he's not enough. That fear never fully goes away. So when a man chooses to show you his real personality, his real habits, his real thoughts, even the imperfect parts, that means he's reached a level of comfort with you that most people never reach. Now, here's where it gets deeper. When a man can be himself around you, he experiences something that he doesn't get off in peace. Not excitement, not thrill, not pressure, peace. A space where he doesn't have to prove anything. A space where he can exist without feeling like he's being evaluated. And peace is something every man is searching for, whether he says it or not, because the world demands a lot from him. Responsibilities, expectations, challenges is constant. So when he finds someone who allows him to take that armor off, even for a moment, that becomes valuable to him. You become valuable to him. Not because of what you do, not because of what you say, but because of how he feels when he's around you. He feels free, and freedom in a relationship is powerful. It means he doesn't feel trapped, he doesn't feel judged, he doesn't feel like he has to live up to an image. He can just exist as himself, flaws and all. Now, don't misunderstand this. Being his true self doesn't mean perfection. It doesn't mean he'll never make mistakes or have bad moments. In fact, it's the opposite. It means you'll see all sides of him, the good, the bad, and everything in between. But that's what makes it real, because anyone can show you their best side. Anyone can present a perfect image for a short period of time. But not everyone is willing to show you who they are when they're not trying to impress you. And that's the difference. When a man shows you his true self, he's giving you something that can't be faked. He's giving you authenticity. And authenticity is the foundation of any real connection. Now your role in that moment matters more than you think. Because once he starts being real with you, he's watching consciously or unconsciously how you respond. Do you accept him as he is? Do you make him feel comfortable being himself? Or do you start trying to change him, criticize him, or make him feel like he's not enough? Because if he feels like he has to go back to pretending just to keep you, he will. But something inside him will pull back. The connection won't feel the same. The openness will start to disappear. But if he feels accepted, if he feels understood, if he feels like he can be himself without losing your respect, that connection grows stronger. He becomes more open, more connected, more invested, because now he knows he doesn't have to wear a mask with you. And in a world where most people are pretending, that kind of connection is rare. So when a man shows you his true self without pretending, don't overlook it. Don't take it for granted. Recognize what it means. It means he trusts you enough to be real. It means he feels safe enough to drop the act. And most importantly, it means that with you, he doesn't feel like he has to be anyone else to be accepted.